You asked for it.
Did they?
You waited for it.
All right. Did they? All right. Waited. I don't think anyone has asked for this.
And here it is. We're back.
In the new year.
It's ImmaLetYouFinish, show number 169 on the Pantheon Podcast, the first show of 2024, after we've taken a little bit of a break to, catch our breath, maybe eat a lot of shit we shouldn't be eating. But here we are. It's Court and Amy, your favorite pair. Who both need a vacation from the vacation.
Oh my God, I know. The best thing I will say, and I'm sure this is like this in other big cities, the best thing about being in New York during the holidays is that everybody else has decided to leave. Mm-hmm. And it's quiet, which is nice. I mean,
this is the first time I've been gone basically for the entire holiday because I left on the 20th. And usually when I go home to see my mom in Richmond, I usually leave on Christmas Eve. Right. I usually travel on an overnight train on Christmas Eve or like the 23rd, never the 20th. And I usually come back around the 26th. This time I stayed until the 31st.
Yeah, why not?
And it was lovely and it was perfect. Yeah. I didn't do anything but hang out with my mom. And eat and drink coffee and watch sports and Law and Order.
So basically you were in Harlem, but at somebody else's house.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
With mom's cooking. Mom's cooking is so good. Just nothing beats mom's cooking. And then my sister who can throw
unless
it down
it's my
too.
mom. Depends on the mom.
So good.
Some moms are not good or not amazing. Well, that's
so. How was your break? What'd you do?
I didn't really. I honestly just, I'm just grateful not to have to be someplace at a specific time. I just watched TV and been reading a lot. And
I've been reading my Barbra Streisand autobiography.
Yeah, I'm reading the Bernie Taupin book now, or Taupin, I guess it is.
And you got to see the wife?
No, I did not go see the wife.
I thought you went to see the wife.
No, I decided not to go see the wife. Oh, by the way, there's actually someone I know from a long time ago. Hey, Daisy, who actually was wondering if I actually was married. And I said, no, I'm not actually married. I know, which is great. Yeah. That's how convincing it is. Mm-hmm. No, I was going to go see her. Mm-hmm. And as you know, for those of you who are dedicated listeners to the show, she was here a couple of weeks ago and on the show with Bill Adler. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, I'm really tired. My good friends who I've traveled with said, you want to come out to our house in Jersey? And I went, you know what? An hour transportation versus 3 hours transportation. If worse came to worse and I wanted to come home quickly, it's an hour away. He was driving back to work, could give me a ride Tuesday. I just figured I can go up there. Yeah, it was fine. Break up the pattern, and neither one of us care anything about New Year's. So.
No, I could not give five shits. It's like it, but it felt good. I haven't been out of New York in a second for real. It just felt good to be somewhere else. Yeah,
if
I could be honest with you. I didn't watch the news. I had no idea what's going on. I didn't watch the news either.
Yeah, I saw a little.
And I have that Citizen app on my phone, right?
Oh, I don't.
It literally. In Virginia, it only went off once, and it was just to say that there's a sex offender who's registered 0.4 miles away. But literally on the train back, going through certain areas, it's like, this is a high crime area. When I was in, outside of Philly and all of these places, it was like, then I get back to New York, and it's like, this man is pistol whipped. Da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, New York is...
Well, I mean, in defense, New York is 27,000 million times bigger than Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, but
there are parts of Richmond you can get your ass kicked.
Absolutely. But what I was going to say is, because I'm a staunch defender of New York, but I absolutely now, as I'm getting older, am really understanding why a lot of people who are my age and up, because I have some friends who are diehard New Yorkers who would never leave, and they've left. I'm kind of understanding.
Where are they going?
Well, they've gone to a bunch of different places across the country. They really have. They go, and I understand maybe wanting a little more of a peaceful existence. When I got back late on Sunday night, the first thing I noticed was just how filthy and dirty the city was.
Yeah.
And it's such a difference when you come from some place that's not that and you just look and you're like, why are we living like this? It's so disgusting.
Well,
but I love it. I love this girl. New York is my spot, but
a good thing happened in New York. Christmas, first off, we had the Christmas Day game, NBA game, which I consider God's gift to the Jews because we're sitting there on Christmas going, all right, Christmas, all right, whatever, blah, 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 yay for you. And as you know, basketball was invented for Irish Catholics, Jews, and Black people. It was God's gift to us. I know other people watch the game, and obviously, clearly, Eastern and Eastern European people, Europeans, and people from the Balkan states. But God's gift to New York is we got the prime time Christmas Day game, which is always a great game, and we not only beat the Bucks, but we were consistently beating them through. I don't think we were ever behind in that game, which is a beautiful thing to watch because, as we know, as Knick fans, at some point we wait for them to nick up at some point and fall apart. So it was a beautiful game. We always have the best celebrities at Knick games. I'm sorry.
Well, it's the legendary. It's a day of basketball that always starts with the Knick game. They always have that 12:30, the 12:30 game. Except for like 2 or 3 years ago where they had been so bad the year before they lost.
Yeah, they didn't even get it.
They didn't get a Christmas game, and that devastated New York. And then they gave it back.
It's like we're entitled to that Christmas game. Anyway, so that was lots of fun to do that. And then a couple days later came this huge trade, which everyone I have talked to says is a very good thing for us. And I will say this for all the people who are like, RJ, he's not up to, well, you know what? Now you got your wish. You're always complaining about not you, but people complaining about RJ Barrett. You got your wish.
See, I love RJ Barrett.
I know you do, but you're always complaining about him.
Well, yes.
You're always complaining.
I was complaining about the inconsistency because you could see the flashes of greatness in there.
Yes.
But it would not be consistent, and that would drive me crazy, right? Because you see his draft, out of his draft class, Zion was number 1. He's still a Pelican. John Morant was number 2. He's still on Memphis Grizzlies.
Right.
And RJ was number 3 to the Knicks, and we've traded our pick.
But the team, like I said, I talked to a whole bunch of people, and they said,
"No, listen, OG Anunoby is a great player, right?
And we're coming in under cap, and they won. They won last night.
Yeah, so they won the first game with him.
And listen, at this point, Jalen Brunson is just like a marvel.
Yeah.
An absolute marvel.
And I hope that he absolutely gets selected as an all-star this year.
Oh, he has to.
I feel like he was snubbed last year. Listen, what is good for RJ is RJ's from Toronto. That's his home team. Yeah, so I actually, and he seems to be happy. Quickly was a hard one to lose because he's been playing well.
Yes.
I thought he was really, really playing well.
But the extension we'd had to, I mean... basketball
and there are rumors that they are that Randall's on a trade block, that they're not done making changes. So we shall see.
I mean, that's the thing about basketball. I mean, it's constantly fluid, and you know what? We always get over it.
Right.
And
it's true.
We always get over it as long as we win. Nobody has any brand except for like back in the the glory days of the Knicks where they probably weren't moving people around. As long as your team wins, that's all anybody cares about. To be really honest.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about a sport I could care less about, which is football. Not that I should preface this because it's not like I hate football, but I wasn't raised in a sports household anyway, but basketball was always something I was into because everybody always was like, you should play basketball. And I'm like,
because you were tall.
Yeah, or I could just be tall. I mean, I don't know why I have to justify my height. And also, I am old enough that the Knicks were like the talk of the town. You know, I do remember those games. All right, so this underground cult singer, what is her name? It's something Taylor? Is it
Taylor Lautner?
Taylor Elizabeth
Taylor Dane?
Taylor Dane? Anyway, Taylor. Okay, can I just say, and then we'll go into it. If you had to pick 2 of the most played out white people names, Travis and Taylor are like, right? I mean, and isn't the other one, and just like, and isn't Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend named Brandy? I mean, it's
No,
just
his wife,
British.
Brittany.
Same
Brittany.
difference.
Yeah,
Same
same
difference.
thing.
Same difference. All right, so Taylor Swift, big surprise, has been, dating Travis Kelce. Is that how you pronounce his name? Football, I don't care. He dresses like a lunatic. I'll just say that. And I know big guys, it's hard. No, he dresses like a lunatic. Like
Yeah, big guys, it's not hard when you're rich. It's not.
No,
It's not.
exactly.
It's not hard.
And the NFL doesn't have the NBA rule where they have to wear suits when they're at the games, right?
Well,
do they still have to do that? Do they still have to do that?
But they do ask you to dress up because you've noticed, like, they don't. That was when they were trying to clean up the image of the
was
NBA.
After Allen Iverson.
And they were trying to do that moment. But now, it's always like a fashion show. Everybody wants. Listen.
Westbrook. He's the king of that.
I love clothes. Everybody knows it. But some of this shit, I'm like, what the fuck are you wearing? What are you wearing? And fun fact, with everybody with the European cut pants.
What are those? Tight?
The European cut is when it's supposed to hit right sort of like at the ankle or mid-ankle.
Tom Brown.
Yes, but everybody's doing it. One, it's really a tall, slender sort of look. And everybody's cutting these pants so high that they look like they're wearing culottes and they look nuts.
All right. Anyway, Taylor and Travis. So they're dating, blah, 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 blah. And she's at every Chiefs game now and blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Like I said, yay for Taylor Swift. Both of you and I are in agreement in that she is somewhat overrated as an artist in terms of her singing, but she's a songwriter, and I begrudge the woman nothing, though I would like to hear her stop being anointed as a self-made millionaire or billionaire because she comes from money, but that's neither here nor there. And so she's been at all the Kansas City games now, and she's wearing she's wearing like little his number and little jackets. And somebody wrote an article, and I thought this was really interesting. First off, does anyone go to games just wearing jeans and a t-shirt? Why are these people dressed like to the nines all the time, wearing heels? Number one. Number two, but this was a really interesting point. That here is a grown woman. She's almost 35 years old. She is 100 and badillion times more important and successful than him. He's a very good football player, but at the end of the day, he is going to not be remembered other than being her boyfriend or maybe husband or whatever. She's huge. She's changed the world. She's a Time Person of the Year. Why? And this writer said, and I talked to you about, why is this woman dressing like his cheerleader? Why is she wearing number 87 and his jacket? It's kind of like, you're Taylor Swift. Is this the way you can show and it feels like she just morphs into whoever she's dating. And men do that too.
It's very performative to me because it's very you and I have spoken about this several times. This is a woman who absolutely always knows where her camera is. Always. She knows every time. And I'm tired of them flashing to her. And she's making that face that she makes. Right.
I just won face? I just won an Oscar.
Or they're getting caught saying like, what the fuck was that? Face. I know. And it's very like the open mouth and the wide eyes. And it's like,
with the perfect red lip.
I do not, and I want to know what red is that. Anyway.
Okay, I want to know. Well, it's a blue red for sure, and it's a matte. And back when I was young, I could wear matte, MATTE. I could wear a matte lip too. But once you get past the age of 45, you can no longer wear a matte lip because you start. Well, because your lips start drying out, and you look like you're an old woman with dried lips. How much you want to bet there's a makeup artist sitting underneath the seat?
I mean,
touching her.
I'm just, first of all, the NFL to me is, I know they're like, oh, we show her and more people are tuning in, her fans, but you're turning off fans like me. It really does turn me off that every time I turn around, they're making Taylor Swift references. They're showing her, they're acting like she's part of the game. And I'm really kind of getting annoyed. Just like, who else is getting annoying? Rolling Stone's social media, which I follow on our show page, every day is something Taylor Swift. Every day. And I'm like, guys, there's more artists out there. There's more music out there. This woman does not need any more publicity. She's the master at it with this public relationship. And you're right, morphing into now you're like, all the years we've seen you, we've never seen you at football, any reference to football. And now, suddenly you're like Miss Football.
Well, I think that, and again, I'm stealing these ideas, when she was with the actor guy, Joe, whatever his, Alwyn,
Uh-huh.
she was living a lot in England because he's British. It was a very low key relationship. It was
Mhm.
and from what I've read, she's someone who likes to be, the girl with the most cake. Okay.
Right.
And I think after a while, she was like, I'm living in England and nobody sees me. And now she's like, she enjoys being parading around with restaurant, which is fine. She can do whatever the hell she wants. But I'm just looking at her like, why are you wearing it just seems like she's a little like cheerleading my boyfriend, and it's like, oh my, it's like,
Well, this one, see, the Joe Elwyn relationship, which was like 7 years, to me felt like a real relationship
yeah,
because
this feels like a photo op.
that was something she was keeping sort of sacred into
Quiet.
herself. This one feels like, I got albums out there. I have a tour going on. It feels like a girl having
Feel
fun.
like Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah. And I have no problem with her being a girl who wants to have some fun, but I'm just
not
like,
at all, yeah.
it's just boring. I don't care. And it's dumb.
Yeah. No, it's also, like I said, and maybe again, and I'm stealing these ideas from people, but it's very this weird, and this is kind of the juxtaposition that women have to think. On one hand, she is independent, she is very, savvy, she is powerful, blah 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 blah. But on the other hand, at the end of the day, she's playing good girlfriend and gazing at him, and I'm like, I never could see. That was my problem. Oh, I have so many problems with men. But one of my key problems.
We both do. You want to go? You want to have a back and forth therapy session?
Yeah. But one of my key problems is I never learned the gaze. Right. I never learned how to gaze, and it was always like everything that they're attracted to me about. Then there's also like, oh wait, you're always like this? I'm like, yeah. Right. It's not like my stupid party trick. I get to get boys. Like, I'm going to be smart and funny. Right. Oh wow, and like, oh shit, you're smart and funny. I'm like, yes.
They're like, oh, you still have an opinion.
You still have an opinion. You're so complicated. I'm like, no, I'm not completely. I'm actually very uncomplicated. I'm pretty like. Well, anyway, so yay. But I just want to, in the post every day. I mean, Jesus Christ. Like I said, if you ever want to delve into the ninth circle of hell, read the comment page on page 6.
Let me just tell you something.
I can't believe half this stuff gets printed. Seriously.
I'm like, okay, I understand letting people have freedom to say whatever they want.
Jesus Christ.
But if you ever want to really wonder how horrible and low can people be, read the fucking comment section or any section of the post of the New York Post.
Section. But here's the thing, and then we'll move on, but how is it that every once in a while they'll go, this has been removed for community standards? I'm like, oh, so you can call the person like a black cow or this, that, or make fun of their looks. Right. What have they said?
I'm like, I want to know what you actually remove. It must be a nice comment because there's sure never any nice ones.
I mean, it must be literally like, curse. I want to have sex with my daughter. I mean, what are you saying? Like, how bad can it be? All right, this is a great segue. So I just finished watching the Chappelle special. Have you watched it?
I refuse.
It's very good.
Well, you like him.
No.
I'm not a big fan of his.
All right, I think he's incredibly talented, but it is very short. It's only like 58 minutes. Mm-hmm. What I don't understand, okay, it starts off with a bunch of very obvious, very stupid, mildly funny, but stupid, cringy jokes about trans people. Like, basically, I'm not going to make jokes about trans people. Here goes. I like Trunchie down. Then he does jokes about handicapped people. The only one of them, which is remotely he's that he makes fun of Madison Cawthorn, which, as far as I'm concerned, Madison Cawthorn, and then the rest, and then that's it. He does some a great bit about Chris Rock and Will Smith, a great bit about his wife and his family. There's and a great bit about Little Nas X. It's it's all about dreaming, and it's he doesn't need I don't understand. I mean, part of it is like, I think like almost like a 3-year-old. You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. He's the most successful comedian, I think, ever. He makes, right? I mean, is that fair to say, money-wise? He's got to be the most successful comedian ever. So it's just so, like, you're doing it and he's cracking himself up in the audience and you're kind of cringing, and it's because you know, it's like my dad when I was a kid and I cursed at him once, and he used to say, or not cursed at him, but I used a curse, and he used to say, I don't mind if you curse, but do know that there are other words you can use. Don't rely on the curse for the word. And I feel like this is almost like his reflex, like reflective. I'm going to make jokes about trans people because he never did stuff like this before. I'm going to
No.
make jokes about handicap because you guys have told me not to do it. But the rest of the special is actually very, very good. But you just go, why? Like, why are you doing this? And I think he's doing it because everyone has told him not to do it. So
it just feels like
it's just so dumb. I don't get it.
I'm just tired of people always grabbing the low-hanging fruit.
But he makes a joke about that. He says, I love punching down. He's fuck you to everybody in this.
Right.
But I'm agreeing. No, I just think like I said, if he
and listen, and this is not, and I'm not, you know me, I'm not morally opposed. I think that you can actually tell gay jokes. I think you can,
Right.
as long as the jokes are funny. I just felt like what turned me off with Dave, and this is not with this one, was just the couple of ones before where I felt like if you're just going to be mean-spirited, because you could tell a joke. I can laugh at a joke I can laugh at a black joke. I can laugh at a gay joke. If it's funny, and if you're coming with something that's funny.
These are funny. This is the problem.
People love him, and I'm sure it is funny. But when you have stepped into a space of mean-spiritedness, with me, it's like, okay, cool. I'm glad you're funny. I'm glad people like it. I won't be tuning in because I don't fuck with that kind of shit. It's like,
well, I watched it.
No, listen, and I'm glad, and a lot of people are going to watch it, and they love him, and I think he has the right to do it. I think he should have specials. I think everybody has a voice. You know, but you know, you never hear me saying I've watched a stand-up special anyway, right? So I'm not one of the people who runs to watch any stand-up from anybody.
You didn't watch Gerard Carmichael?
No.
That's a great special.
I heard
that's a great special. Mm-hmm. No, again, it's like the first 10 minutes you kind of like are going, oh, Dave, really, really, really. And he's very in on the joke. He's smirking. But then it's like, okay, I'm going to go through this. It's like almost like a plane. You have to go through the turbulence, mm-hmm. and then it's like this, and then it's like, yeah, but it is funny. I watched it so I could have the conversation, and that's it. And I'll go back to watching my British crime shows. But if he was not with that, if he had no talent, mm-hmm. it would just be like some stupid guy, like a monkey throwing shit at the wall. It would just be some stupid thing. But he's very talented. He's very bright. He's very observant. So that's why you sit there and go, really, this is what's on your mind? You know, but
he straddles a weird fence with me. He does. He straddles a very weird fence.
Yeah, and it's very different. You never saw this in.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
You didn't see it. But he, you know.
But you know what? I do think a lot of his act, and what I will give him credit for is he was one of those people who kind of kicked in the glass when it came to cancel culture, right? Because you and I had talked about this before when everybody was conflating everything and making everything equally as egregious. Right. And we're going to cancel you. And whenever you do that over and
what's the thumb?
This thing,
what is that?
And it only keeps happening on your...
Is it canceling me?
Something has to be open on your computer somewhere.
Okay, there are balloons and thumbs.
But that was like the 14th one at the start.
Wait, do I have an emoji thing open?
Because that was like the 14th time that happened.
I felt canceled.
Yeah. I do think that he, I wasn't mad at him for taking that on and being like, you're not going to just cancel me because you don't agree with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I've had this debate with people and they get surprised when I take that take. I'm like, listen, everybody doesn't have to like you. Right. You know what I mean? I just need you not to be able to affect the way I live, my job, my working, me going to school, any of those things. You don't have to like me. You don't. And I don't have to like you. And I don't think because somebody doesn't like you that they shouldn't have a career or work. Because if that's the case, we all have shit that we don't like about people. Then none of us would have a career or work. You know? So I was never mad at him for being like, this is my opinion. And I won't be swayed to apologize and change because that's fake, because a mass group of people want that. Because I do think it's fake when you apologize when you clearly don't mean it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, he clearly does
if you
not
don't mean
it.
it, stand on your 10 toes and be like, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Right or wrong.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
fake apology shit and the fear of being canceled, because we saw a lot of people get canceled, let's just face it, for some bullshit, right?
Well,
it's like,
usually only the women who do really,
I mean,
honestly.
and then you want to go, well, we saw people like lose careers, like, you know, Al Franken lost, like he had to.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's different. He lost a career as a senator, which is an elected position. You know, he didn't lose, I'm sure, but I know what you mean. Yeah, and that's a whole different, politics is a whole different realm.
Yeah, but I mean, I've just used that as an example,
Yeah.
just saying how there was a time where somebody said something and then there was all of this faux outrage. Even the Cuomo shit, right? It's like they kick him out of office and then no charges are brought by any of those. All of that just goes away. It's like,
well, I mean,
okay.
I think there's no shame anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, you can say whatever the hell you want.
There's literally no shame.
No, people say, but again, so this is the conundrum with Chappelle. It's the same thing with Chris. It's like you're like, but it's like when he hits. But it is this.
So did you laugh out loud? Was it laugh out loud?
Yeah,
funny?
No, some of it was really, really funny.
Right.
Some of it is, but the stuff that's the funniest with him is when he talked about when he got the Will Smith, Chris Rock stuff is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff he talks about when he got attacked in Holly, in LA at his show. Mm-hmm. The stuff about his wife is hilarious. Mm-hmm. But it's just one. He's only 50 years old.
He's just 50?
Yeah, he started when he was 16.
I was about to say he's been around for a long time.
Same thing with Chris Rock. I think Chris Rock is just about turned. The stuff about Lil Nas X is very funny. Mm-hmm. It is very funny. Yeah, I mean, I watch it. I took a hit for the team, and I can go back to watching my British crime shows. All right, you want to take a
I was going to say, let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Pantheon listeners. Christian Swain here, taking a break from listening to a little Shout It Out Loudcast episode. Love Tom and Zeus talking all things Kiss. Of course, I was listening to them on my new Raycon wireless earbuds. They have quickly become my go-to earbuds because of the comfort. These soft tips are the best I've ever used. And at this price, plus a Pantheon discount, Raycon is really hitting on all marks. Sound quality is great too. I really love having these 3 EQ options because I like more bass in the music, but less in my podcast. 8 hours of playtime for the battery is great as well. Surround sound, noise isolating, and awareness mode are all included. These are great earbuds. Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycon order plus free shipping. That's right. You'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon. Hey, Pantheon listeners, Christian Swain here. Another day, another podcast I'm working on. This time, it's Famous and Gravy with Amit and Michael. I want to let you know that I loved the Factor Meals package so much that I re-upped for myself, and then I sent a package to my in-laws. Like I was with my first shipment from Factor Meals, the in-laws were as excited to try one of the prepared restaurant quality meals. Well, they got the shipment to Protein Plus meal plan and were very impressed. See, being in their 80s, anything to make the meal prep easy is a plus for them. They heated the oven per instructions and minutes later were enjoying a very delicious, nutritious, and dietitian-approved meal. One big win for me. But what really floored them was the taste. Like I told you, it's surprising how good these meals taste. Restaurant quality indeed. And like my own shipment, it really was everything Factor Meals said it would be for some seniors. No prep, no mess meals. Factor Meals are 100% ready to heat and eat. Take it from me and my in-laws. Head to factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. That's factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. Thank you, Factor Meals.
Hey folks, Stefan Shirazi and Renee Richardson here from the Metallica Report.
And we are proud members of the Pantheon Podcast family, where the best of music and podcasts unite.
We've got something pretty cool for you. We're giving away an exclusive Metallica merch package worth over $250.
That's a whole lot of Scary Guys, skulls, M72, and other sought-after Metallica swag. And we've made it easy for you to win. Follow and share the Metallica Report, and you're in the game. Go to pantheonpodcast.com/Metallica, enter your email, and hit that button to be entered to win.
And just like that, you're eligible for our monthly exclusive Metallica merch package.
And guess what, rockers? You can enter every month, so just do it. And while we love our global brothers and sisters, the lawyers won't let us ship outside the U.S.
And we're back.
We're back. All right. I think that Chaka Khan can do whatever she wants to do.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
Me too. I think she's
Chaka Khan.
whatever she wants to do.
I love that, now that she's been inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she's been doing all of these interviews. And I just love everything that Chaka has to say. And some interesting things, like, did you know that Robert Palmer's Addicted to Love
Yes, I did know
was
that.
recorded as a duet?
Yes, I knew that because
I
wrote the thing for the Rock and Roll.
Right. I had no idea it was recorded.
It was recorded as a duet, and her label didn't want his label because they were
on the same label.
She had just done Higher Love, and they didn't want to do it again. So she did the
they never said. She said in her interview that both her and Robert Palmer, because Robert Palmer asked her to do it. They did it.
No, I know, but the label said they didn't want her.
I'm trying to finish the sentence. She said that her and Robert Palmer felt it was racism that they pulled it off. Mm-hmm. Like that they both felt it was, and that makes sense for that time because I don't know if people realize on Donna Summer's Quincy Jones produced album, Bruce Springsteen wrote a song for her called Protection, and that was supposed to be a duet. And Columbia kiboshed that, like, you can't do a song with her.
Well, Chaka actually, but she did arrange the background, all the vocals on Addicted to Love, the background.
Well, because they actually
right. No, but I'm saying,
this, yeah.
No, but I'm saying, so she gets, but yes, and then she did Higher Love. I mean, Addicted to Love to me.
Higher Love, which she was actually uncredited on too, right? Remember,
no.
She wasn't credited on Higher Love.
She's in the video,
and we all, because that voice, we hear the voice, and we're all like, no one else sounds like.
Yeah, and that's her drummer on it too. She's in the video. But the point is that, so anyway, the reason we're talking about Chaka is that Chaka is on her No Fucks Given tour, which she's sort of been on for 40 years. Basically, she is, I mean, we don't have to talk about how great she is, but she has I don't want to say reputation because that is sort of a negative, but she is known for being someone who suffers no fools and has no problem saying, Rolling Stone puts her at the wrong spot for the best vocalist. She's like, I am sorry. I am a better singer than Adele. Guess what? She is. And I'm sure Adele would say as much.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. So, so she has said that basically, well, two things. She has said that she never really wanted to be a solo artist, and that's interesting to hear that. But Rufus was a good...
And how she was kind of pushed out front by the label, and that is what... She said there were no problems until they started putting her out front, and then they were focusing on her. And, that happens, right? You're the girl in the band.
Right. When it became... But it used to just be Rufus as a group, and then it became Chaka Khan and Rufus.
Yeah. Rufus featuring Chaka Khan.
Chaka Khan. It's like the Supremes, right? It used to just be the Supremes. And then Diana Ross slept with the label head, and then she got to be, I'm sorry. But so she's been doing, did I say that? And then she's been doing this kind of press because she is really, and now she's like, I don't want to tour anymore. And do you blame her?
No,
why?
She said I'll do some spot shows here and there,
why?
But she's like, I'm in my 70s. I got a couple of grandkids that I want to know better.
Great grandkids.
Right. And she's like, I just bought a huge property in Georgia, fenced myself in, and I want to hang out on it. I'm like, you know what, lady? Good. I appreciate an artist who says, I have given you guys the majority of my life. You have seen me. You have the records. I am going to chill out enjoy my family, because what people don't realize about this industry is just how much time it takes you away from your family. And she said, I'm going to chill out, hang with my family, and call it a motherfucking day.
Well, I also will say people don't care how much it takes because when famous people, but that's it. I mean, yeah, listen, she can do whatever she wants. She's a great singer. I'm glad she finally got inducted. It was a long time coming. I have absolutely no problem with her. She can do whatever the hell she wants. You know, I'd love for her to record an album because her last album was a while ago, but it was actually quite good. She's still,
she put out that EP, and what was it in 2020? Hello Happiness. I think it was like 2020.
Was it even? I even think it was before then. It was pre-pandemic, wasn't it?
I'll tell you right now.
I just wanted to real fast, I know it's not on our rundown, just say something about how wonderful it was to see Queen Latifah get the Kennedy Center honor. That really was a moment. And now it's 2020.
You're right. It was 2019.
Yeah. And it was good. I mean, listen, Chaka can sing anything she wants. I mean, she is one of the few vocalists. People say that they advertise singers as being able to sing everything. No, they cannot. There are a lot of singers who are really great in their lane. I would even say, I'm going to get screamed at for this, I think in terms of range, she was even better than Whitney. In terms of range, in terms of genre. You could not see Whitney up there with Prince. You could not see Whitney up there doing.
Well, she was like, Whitney could sing anything, but it's true. But Chaka was, when she did jazz, you believed her in jazz. You heard her on a rock song, you believed her in a rock song. It felt like she was blending in. Whitney Houston was always stand out in the things that she did, but it was Whitney Houston.
Right.
Watching Queen Latifah. First of all, it's amazing to see the trajectory of where Queen Latifah started to where she is now. It reminds me a little bit, I'll say the same about Snoop Dogg, who's just been announced as one of the on-air commentators for the Paris 2024 Olympics. It's like...
Whoa.
Yes, Miss
What?
Thing. Yes, Miss Thing. Yes. Because he does...
Is weed legal in France?
Well, because... I don't think so. Because that he does lots of sports commentary. And it's really funny. He has been hired as one of the sports commentators for the 20... I mean, you think about where he came from and you look at who he is now. It's the
a murder trial. Remember that? He was on trial.
Murder was the case that they gave me.
Right. 187, right?
And to watch Queen Latifah from UNITY come into my house, to watch her be this huge producer, TV star, movie star. People forget that she also sang and rapped, just all of the things. And to watch her get a Kennedy Center honor is just like,
and look at Moni coming out and MC. No, I think I've told you this before, but I've interviewed Latifah a couple times, and I interviewed her when Tommy Boy was still on 91st and 1st Avenue in Tom Silverman's apartment, probably. And I think she was 19, and Wrath of My Madness had just come out, and the album was just about to come out or had just come out. And I remember walking out of there thinking, holy crap, like I'd never met somebody that young, that self-possessed. She is that person. And, I think she's a great artist, and I'm glad, because she does get forgotten in the conversation only because she hasn't done it in a while. But the point is that when she does decide to do it, I'm sorry, I don't think there's anyone better in terms of.
Well, it's the thing. It's the her, LL, Will became huge on the Hollywood side that people forget that they were all hip hop artists. That's where they began. That's where their foundation is, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you have that skill, and all three of them are blessed with that skill, you can always dust it off and pull it back out, because that's where you come from. It's the foundation.
You know what I read? I mean, you probably know this, but during the Grammys hip hop hooray thing that they did, that Will Smith, Will Smith was talking to Rakim, and he said that he totally based his rap in Summertime on Rakim's flow, which is true when you listen to it.
When you listen to it, you can kind of hear that sort of cadence a little bit.
Yeah, and of course, that Chuck D based his flow on Marv Albert.
Did he?
Yes. He has said his tone of his voice was Marv Albert, who for
Marv
those of you know,
Albert,
Marv Albert, yes.
Oh wow, I
Well,
didn't know
think
that.
about it. I mean, Chuck D's a huge sports fan.
Huge.
You know, and Marv Albert, for those of you who are young or not New York, well, he did national stuff, but he was the voice of the Knicks for a year. He was the announcer, Marv Albert, with the really bad
Wig.
toupee.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, toupee.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I love Cher.
Me too.
And there's a Cher-essence going on right now.
I mean, let me just tell you something.
A Cher-essence.
Cher is the woman who says, people think you can't have a hit after a certain age. She's like, hold my Shasta for a minute. As she decides,
Shasta. Hold my RC Cola.
As she decides to have a song, and you and I were both like, whatever that song. But thank God, it was a fucking hit for her. And a number one hit. And it's like, you know what? I love fucking Cher. Don't ever count Cher out. No, and after a while, that song fucking grew on me, and I would be hearing it, and I'd be sitting, DJ play Christmas.
No, she's great, and she has had a hit in every decade.
Mm-hmm. For like the last 7, literally. For
7 decades. She is on a lot of those early Phil Spector tracks. Started as a backup vocalist, you know, with the Phil Spector wall sound. She also has the greatest line ever, I think, with Oprah asking one of her stupid, you know, my path, my journey questions. And she says, you know, what's it, you know, being old, but you get wisdom. And Cher said, fuck wisdom. And I'm like, exactly with that. Like, I would give up wisdom. Wisdom never did me any good. Anyway, Cher's back in the news for many, many things. And she was asked about her exclusion. I guess she's never been inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And she was basically fuck them. Now, do you think that's a strategic move?
No, I actually think Cher,
I think she believes it. I think she believes it.
I think she believes it because she knows they'll never put her in there because she's, you know, she has felt, I think, excluded from especially the kind of music world. I don't believe Cher got a Grammy until Believe, you know? Right. And I think that she has felt never respected on the music side because I think people have always looked at her like, oh, that's just Cher, as opposed to thinking of her as this serious music artist, even though she's had a shitload of hits and all of those things. So no, I think that she absolutely...
I think she believes it, but I wonder, you think it'll result in anything?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think that they'll ever give her the respect to give Cher, put her in there. I think you would know more than.
No, I don't know anymore. I mean, I've been doing. No. I will say the Grammy though isn't a parameter because the Rolling Stones never won a Grammy either. You know, I mean, Grammys are... No, I don't think she gets the same respect. And I think a lot of it is like you were saying about LL and Latifah. I think it's because that she became so well known as a celebrity, but she has a great voice. You know, she has a great voice. I'd love to see all of these women in particular get acknowledged by every institution. Are you okay? Did you... Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought you froze.
No, I'm reading something while you're talking.
Okay. But no, I just wondered what you thought about that. Because I will say this about Cher. She has never tried to read the room to say what she needs to say, you know? And I think that I saw this really funny, we're both fans of Graham Norton, and she was on the Graham Norton show with Julia Roberts and Tom Hanks and Timothée Chalamet. Mm-hmm. And he asked her about, and you know, do you ever watch her movies? And she goes, I'm not a big Cher fan.
Yeah, she says that she doesn't like the sound of her voice.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to see herself. I love her voice.
Let me just tell you something. The most exciting thing in the world used to be, I worked at Tower Video on 4th and Lafayette, and that is when Cher lived in Russell.
The Silk Building.
She lived in that apartment. I want to say
it came up again. What's happening?
I think she lived in that apartment. Did she either buy it from Russell or she sold it to? He bought it from her. It was one of the two. It was Russell's. Her and Russell had that same apartment, and she would come into Tower Video and to see her. That was back. It was like, oh my god! Like I hadn't worked. I was in college. I hadn't worked in the music industry yet, and it was.
Is she tall or
shit.
short?
She's not tiny. She's not tiny. She's not tiny. But it was just like fucking Cher.
It's Cher.
Let me just tell you something. Working at that tower was my first time seeing a lot of people in person. I mean, the first time I ever saw Madonna out in the wild, she came in there one night and I almost died a death on the floor. You know what I mean? But yeah, she's Cher. And Cher's an icon. Cher's a legend. I love that she's still cranking them out, keeping it going. And we're all just like, you know what? Fucking Cher.
Though I will say this, why would you want to date the guy that cheated on Amber Rose? And that's all I'll say. But I have terrible taste in men too.
I mean, don't we all?
Yeah.
You know what
No,
I'm
but
saying?
I do love Cher, and I think that she has suffered the level of misogyny that, you know.
Yeah, I don't think she gets respect for her music career.
At all.
She doesn't.
I
don't think in that room, like, you know, you've been in that room, and I don't think that room would ever, like,
I have
you
no
don't have
idea.
to panic. I'm not going to say anything. I think you've been in that room, so it's like, I don't think that she'll ever be respected in that room.
I don't know.
You know, I don't. I think if somebody said Cher, they would laugh it off. I do. I don't think anybody would take it seriously, even though you've got decades upon decades of hits to be able to look back and make a case for. But it's like people don't take it seriously. But that's okay because the fans do. And that's why she's still here. And that's why she's still able to tour and put out records and have a hit, even with her first Christmas album at 70-something years old.
Break?
We'll be right back. And we're back.
All right, why don't you talk about another old woman that you love?
Okay, we're not going to call her an old woman. She is
an old woman. She's my age. She's old. We're old. Courtney, she's old.
No, she's an icon. She's mother.
Icon
she is.
Why is she called mother? I hate that.
She is. Well, it's a gay term.
I know what it is.
And you're not a gay, so that's it.
But I am a mother.
Yeah, but you're not a mother, honey. And she is. Listen, everybody knows how I feel about Madonna. I get mad at Madonna. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck are you wearing, Madonna? But Madonna will always, 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 always be my number one. She just is. She is from day one. And I had the pleasure of seeing her at Barclays, a show that I thought when I was seeing clips online, I'm like, I don't know about this. But live, let me just tell you something. It was fucking spectacular. It was just a great night. It was... For her, I think her most emotional show, she talked a lot. She talked a lot about her life. And this was the most fun I think I've seen her have in a really long time. She was smiling a lot, talking to the audience. And it was great. How
did you get those tickets, Courtney?
Well, funnily enough, I was supposed to go with Amy Elizabeth Linden, and Amy Elizabeth Linden calls me day of the show being like, I kind of don't feel well. And I'm like, now? When Madonna's coming and she's singing the hits, this is when you don't feel well?
I picked a great time. You picked a good time, a bad time to leave me Louise.
I was like, are you kidding me? And you were like, no, I can't. And wait, when you could actually walk to the
crawl. I could crawl there.
to the where the show is happening. So I took Gina. Shout out Gina. Hey Gina. And we had a great time. Madonna was great. She really was.
No, I'm glad. You got way more out of it than I would have. I would have loved to have seen her, but
yeah.
You got way more out of it.
And she sang the hit. I really did. Because listen, I was doing my old man dance. I realized I'm getting old too. Because before I used to drop it, spin, and pop and dip. Now it was one hand on the rail, slow dip, shimmy, shimmy. Wait, Shimmy, 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 lean, lean,
Ow,
lean,
ow, ow.
lean, lean, lean. My
Ow.
leg, and I did a few leg kicks, but it wasn't like before where I was like, ka, 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 ka. Now it's more like,
No.
pew, 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 pew. But it was a good time.
Well, she has an old. Come on, I mean, the kids are not going to go see her. I mean, especially a tour like this. This is a nostalgia tour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is so much. I mean, she's not an active recording artist at this point.
And what I loved about it was at first I was like, Madonna's always had the best band and best backup singers. But what I thought was smart was the fact that, okay, this was her first time touring, not with a band, but all of the music was taken from the original recording session. So it was the original tracks used. So, you know, a lot of times when Madonna would do tours, she'd sing old songs, she would switch them up. It was the music and those backgrounds, the way you remember them. And that made for a really different experience because you're like singing and you know the riffs, you know the ad libs. And it was really touching, like the Live to Tell section, which was like it really kind of, it didn't go in a chronological order, but there was some order to the show, especially the beginning. Like she goes up into the groove and kind of like, where's the party? And then she goes into how like that first part of the 80s and then the AIDS era. And Live to Tell was really a tribute to a lot of people we lost from AIDS. There was a lot of famous faces, but then there was a lot of just faces of regular people that we lost from AIDS. And it just brought me back to a time in New York where that's my being young, coming out, graduated from high school in 85, you know, and having friends and you would see them on Friday and they'd be falling ill over the weekend and be dead by Monday. It really was that fast. So that part just brought me back to a lot of places. And I recommend that anybody, if you are a Madonna fan, the tour picks back up, I want to say at the end of this week. And hopefully you have tickets and you'll see it because it really is a celebration of the music and her. And it reminded me of just how she's another one who I think people will really like Cher. They'll really appreciate her contribution when she's not here.
Oh, I think both Cher and Madonna's contribution, Madonna in particular,
Kinda, but people like to shit on women, right? I think women also, they don't really get it bigger once they're not here. Then people are like, then you get the full, like men, you see they fawn of them and the men can be ridiculous.
It's the genre, I think, with them. I think it's
the
because
pop.
Because it's in the pop realm.
Right.
I think we could look at male, if you had a male artist, you know, you could say the same way in a lot of things about a New Edition in a way. I think that if you're in a certain genre that's not considered serious, and I'm making huge money quotes here, serious music, it's not looked George Michael in a lot of ways because it's in a pop vein. I mean, look at that. That Wham documentary reminded people, even I was like, Wham, whatever. And then I'm like, holy crap, they made like some amazing pop songs. But pop music is never taken as seriously in some ways. And in some ways it's not as serious, but it's never given the same kind of critical kind of heft that, you know, rock music is, because a lot of times pop music doesn't require someone playing an instrument. And I do think that people still value the playing an instrument part of it, even though the Supremes didn't play instruments, and it seems like they made perfectly good. The Temptations didn't play instruments. Elvis didn't play an instrument. Lots of people don't play instruments, you know? I mean, everybody doesn't have to be Stevie Wonder.
Right.
You know, everybody doesn't have to be the greatest X, Y, and Z. So I think that, you know, that as a vocalist, I think that people who know music really do respect Cher a lot. And I think people, certainly fan-wise, Madonna, I think, you know, people may naysay or whatever, but yes, she does. Both women do suffer from the misogyny and stuff like that. I mean, people don't bring up the Rolling Stones age every 5 seconds.
No,
so God
never.
knows they, you know, but that's because they are in a band, you know, and I think we look at that like, oh, look, they can play. I mean, think about how many times you'll be listening to a record or something, they go, oh, and they played their own instruments. It's like, okay, great.
Right.
Like, who cares? You know, like, I mean, like Alicia Keys has like, all right, I won't get started on that, but it's like that's great. You play an instrument. I mean, that's amazing. I wish I could play an instrument. But the point being is that you can still make. So I think I have high hopes for Cher. I think I have high hopes for Cher. And Madonna, yeah, I'm bummed that I didn't see the show, but also please remind our viewing audience that she went on at what time? What time did she go on?
She went on around 10:15 the night.
Okay, what was Amy Linden doing at 10:15?
Sleeping.
Thank you.
No, I said to you, I was like, you would have been turned out for a 10:15 start time.
Yeah. Yeah. Just especially sitting there. Like if I was like, and if it wasn't cold out, if it was like nice and
it was really toasty, but it was toasty and warm in there. So
of course, but you have to get from A to B. Yeah. Like, I'm a punk. I'm a baby. I'm a big baby. I'm a big old baby. All right. Speaking of babies, wow, this is the best segue I think I've ever come up with. Explain this Nirvana thing to me. This trial, I don't get it. What is going on?
So the guy who was the baby on the cover
of Nevermind,
and who evidently has made a career for years running around being like, I'm the Nirvana baby, has now for the last few years been trying to sue them for child pornography, saying it's like ruined his life or something.
Because, all right, for those of you who are like 12, he's naked in the pool and there's a dollar bill in the water and he's like reaching for the dollar bill.
The thing that's weird about this whole thing to me was like, well, are you suing your parents? Because they didn't just go to a hospital and snatch a baby and throw the baby in the pool. Like, I'm very confused.
Like the art director said, hey, do you have any orphans?
I'm like, you've been running around making a career of being a Nirvana baby. What, did that dry up? So now you're like child porn? I just don't understand.
But didn't he try this a while back and lost the suit?
Mm-hmm.
So what court has he found now?
Another court, an appeals court, has overturned that, saying he can bring the suit. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. It's really, like, again, are you suing your parents? Nirvana did not go to the hospital and said, give me a white baby that we can throw in a pool with $1 and shoot it.
Nirvana didn't. They didn't. I'm assuming he didn't sign a contract with Kurt Cobain, for crying out loud. He signed a contract.
Well, he didn't sign any contract. Check your parents.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of everybody out for a cash grab. It's really starting to get old. It really is. It's just. I also saw that the woman who was the artist who was the model who was on the cover art of the Childish Gambino album, where, she's painted black, she's like coming out the dirt. She's trying to sue because she's like, she hasn't received any residuals for the album art. I was like, that's not how it works. You were a model, you were hired to take a picture, you would pay for that. You're not due residuals from album sale. Like, unless
you make a deal with the person for merch or something like that.
I'm
right?
like, and that's not even what we're talking about. I'm like, I'm looking at, and even then, if you're a model, the photographer who owns the picture will get residuals. You are a model hired for a job. That's what you're paid for. Why do you think you should get residuals on an album? Like, I feel like we're living in a world where everybody's just in a fantasy making shit up.
Well, I think a lot of this has to do, in terms of social media and things that get reproduced. But yeah, I mean, if you get hired to do something, unless you sign something with somebody, that would be like the models in like those Avedon pictures, those beautiful, you're a hired gun. You're a hired gun. You were hired to sit there and do this thing, and then it's done, and that's it. That's it. I mean, they're not making money off of your likeness. They're making money off of the album. Like, you didn't record anything on that album. You're a picture. You know what I mean? So unless you steal, it's like the Shepard Fairey thing where he took the Obama poster and made it into the Hope. I mean, that I understand because it's an image. But at the end of the day, actually, he took the image from a photograph. So it's like a double whammy. Yeah, the whole Nirvana thing is stupid. I mean, it's really stupid. And how old is this guy? Like 30? Why doesn't he just get a job?
Oh, man, it's like, because nobody wants a job anymore, Amy. They just want the quick cash. It's like, I feel used. Like, first of all, nudity doesn't automatically mean child pornography. You know what I mean? It's like, you're a naked baby in a pool.
Well, I think it's considered pornography. Well, depending on I think it's considered. I mean, if there have been photographers who have taken pictures of their children naked. It was a very famous case. So, and they have been arrested.
Oh, really?
Yes. They have been arrested for child pornography, for distribution of child porn. I'm being very serious. There was a very well-known photographer. I can't think. She took a series of art pictures of her children in very, and she was arrested. This is back when you would have to take your film to back in the day when you would take your film to what was it called? The drive-through picture place.
Oh my God, you remember? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And people would see those pictures and go, "Oh, I'm calling the authorities." So yes, there is, but no, this is not child porn. And I don't even think you see his little wee wee in it. Do you?
I don't even remember.
No, this kid needs to get a job. All right. Sadly, people die. This is a thing, but a few very kind of notable. Well, everyone who dies is notable to the people that know them, but a few people died during. I'll tell you, when you watch those in memoriam. I forget who died this year. I'm not saying that to be flip.
Last year, Tina Turner. Yeah.
Well, that I remember, but I don't remember that Wednesday from the Addams Family died.
Oh, okay.
The original Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, a good friend of ours. Well, you knew Fumi, right?
I knew him as a high randomly from seeing him around for years and years and years. But so many people I know really knew
Fumi.
him.
So Fumi was a New York. You knew it was the party if Fumi was there. Yep. He was an A&R man. He was a great DJ. And in fact, the last time I saw him was DJing one of those house music parties on South Portland, outside that record shop. Just a great guy, and part of that whole sort of contingent of Nigerian and Ghanaian guys who came over to New York in the early 90s. Parties where Idris Elba's there, but nobody knew it was Idris Elba. I had my chance. Anyway, Fumi died, and I count Fumi as a friend. I hadn't seen him in a long time, but he was very good friends with very good friends of mine. And he had a smile that, I never saw this guy not smiling. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous, happy, just an upbeat, super positive, super cool, and a phenomenal DJ. Really, really real taste in music.
DJ, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was working at Jazz and Lincoln Center, programming there. Anyway, he passed, and so just sad. And
a lot of people are really sad about him.
Yeah, passing. He was a great guy, and a very much of a reminder of what music does. What music does in terms of the spirit it brings, and very much that. And then Amp Fiddler, who is not a well-known person commercially, but is I think can be credited as being sort of like the mentor and godfather of a lot of Detroit hip hop. He is the one that put Jay Dilla on. Q-Tip introduced Jay Dilla at Amp Fiddler, and Amp Fiddler taught him basically how to use certain. You can read a lot about this in our friend Dan Charnas's book Dilla Time, but Amp Fiddler, just a great artist. Mr. Fiddler, his group, he was on Elektra with his brother. Do you ever hear Mr. Fiddler? Do you remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Really good. And then great albums with Sly and Robbie, with just a really great. And then he played for years with Parliament Funkadelic. Did you ever get the chance to see him live, Amp?
Never got a chance to see him live.
Really, really good performer. I just remember I interviewed him once a million years ago for Mr. Fiddler, and then he was playing with Parliament Funkadelic in Wingate Park, and I had Lucian with me, and he must have been about 7, and I wanted to go say hi to Amp and everything, and we're going backstage. It's Wingate Park, and out there, and Amp comes, and he goes, I don't know if you want to bring your kid back there. There's a lot of weed smoking going on. I was like, thank you.
Right.
Thank you for doing it. So he passed, and then Les McCann.
Yeah.
That was my album in junior high. Compared to what? Oh my God, that was everybody. You know that. We'll talk a little bit about Les McCann because Les McCann and Eddie Harris, right?
Well, Les McCann is a legendary. He's a pianist. And listen, these are just the icons of. It's like of jazz. You know what I mean? He literally was. I don't know. It's like. These are
artists.
It's hard to put it. Yeah, it's like these are the people who are like musicians,
right?
In their core, you know what I mean, and just really, really, really respected. He's been sampled a lot by everybody from Cypress Hill to De La Soul to Dr. Dre to Nas to the Far Side, Mobb Deep, Raekwon. Just I don't know. It's like. he just, listen. I think that people can go back and look at albums and you can see a lot of performances of him from like the Montreux Jazz Festival, and he worked with Roberta Flack. He just literally was a musician's musician.
Yeah, very much. And again, I think compared to what album with Eddie Harris was his big commercial, so it's the one. But yeah, and again, these guys lived great long lives. Not Amp, sadly, and not Fumi, sadly, but Les McCann for sure. And then Maurice Hines, who was the brother of Gregory Hines.
Another legendary dancer. Listen, we're losing the greats, right? We all have to go, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's just, I feel like the type of artists we're losing, we're not seeing new versions of that anymore, right? Like the people who really were art. I think today's artists in the world is different. Just even the way music is translated and transmitted and artistry, it's like, it just feels different. It feels like we're losing a generation of talent that we won't see again.
I will beg to differ.
Okay, so who would you say right now?
No, but I'm saying
no. Hold on. Because when people make comments like that, I'm like, okay, cool. I hear you.
I will say.
Who would you compare to like a Maurice Hines today?
I would say when Savion Glover passes, it'll be a major in terms of the same genre.
I always forget about him. Yeah, I do forget about him.
So I'm not saying I'm not taking anything away from these people, but I think obviously but I think when you have. Obviously, Maurice Hines and Gregory Hines, his brother, who's also passed. But I do think that, yes, I mean, when the lead singer for a band that had one hit passes, you're like, okay, that's really sad. But if you're a fan of that one band, then it means as much to you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And obviously, you are old enough, and we were raised knowing who Maurice Hines is, and he was in Sophisticated Ladies, I believe, mm-hmm. and that kind of thing. So it is a generational. I mean, there are certain people that you and I both go, who is this?
But it was also like we come from the time when there was a place for those people to be. There were all those sort of Dinah Shores, those kind of variety shows where the Hines brothers would be going on and they would dance. Like we don't have those types of shows where like you would see certain people who had a cabaret act, like a Susan Anton, right? It was like who kind of was an actress, but always had like an Atlantic City cabaret act, and you would see them on
Tommy Smothers.
Yeah,
we forgot to mention. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tommy Smothers also passed, and that. To me, I grew up watching this. Tommy Smothers was...
The Smothers brothers were edgy. People don't realize
very edgy.
The stuff that they were doing. They got pulled off of TV when they were still really popular and famous because
they spoke out against the war.
Because they were always on the line and would say and do shit.
Well, it was I didn't know this. Tommy Smothers was very good friends with John Lennon and was in the room when Give Peace a Chance was recorded.
Oh,
I mean, he was, so he was one of these guys, you'd look at him and he'd look like LL Bean, preppy. He was the edgier one. Like, he played like sort of the patsy, and he'd be like, he played sort of the dummy, and Steve Martin got their start with the Smothers Brothers, Mason Williams. Oh no, but that show, they had like Pete Seeger on singing an anti-war song, and this is at the height of the Vietnam War. And TV, it's really weird in a lot of ways. Stuff that got on TV, like you think back to the Richard Pryor show and what Lily Tomlin, they would not let that now, even though we're a more permissive society.
When you go back and you look at the first 5 seasons of Saturday Night Live.
Oh my God, right?
They would never do most of those skits that they did today. When Buck Henry played the pedophile babysitter.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And we laughed at all of that. When Richard Pryor said nigger to Chevy Chase. It's like they would never. But even now, like if you, because you know me, I don't know if you know this.
You love Madonna?
I love Law and Order. And,
really?
and
Madonna?
And depending on the channel that I am watching it on, they will fuzz things out. Yeah. And this is stuff that was always on television. Why do you have to fuzz it out now? You know what I mean?
We forgot another person. I'm sorry.
Who?
Andre Braugher.
The legendary Andre Brower, who his episode of Law and Order was on when I was out, and my mom was like, "Oh, he died recently."
Where they do the homicide crossover,
right? But
yeah, yeah, no, and then he came on later in the new crappy versions of Law and Order.
Well, you know, Homicide is, I believe,
are they going to bring it?
I believe they're finally getting whatever the issues are with that, and they're going to be coming at some point this year. Homicide Life on the Streets
that show.
Was a
Homicide,
great show.
Again, for those of you, David Simon and the whole team behind The Wire.
Yeah.
So it was the Homicide, The Corner, and Homicide is where Richard Belzer got his start as an actor, and a lot of the guys from Homicide would do little sort of walk-ons in The Wire, so you had a nice sort of like... No, Homicide was a great. Yaphet Kotto, him, Andre Brower, and just a great show, Homicide. I used to watch that all the time on regular TV. That'd be great, because that is one of those shows where there are very few shows where you're like, why aren't people seeing? Like Homicide not being on air is like De La Soul not being able to stream.
Right.
Like, why can't we see Homicide with every other stupid show in the world? So good. I'm glad you said that. All right. So at the end of last year, we're supposed to do like what we listened to, and Courtney and I both had a collective like, I don't know. What did you listen to? And I forgot. Well, I always forget everything. So in my defense, I forget everything. But then Courtney was like, holy crap.
I was like, we just rushed through. I was like, how did I not talk about the fact that Kylie's Return to Form, Tension album was one of my favorites of the year? Or fucking Jessie Ware's That Feels Good was a great record. Or my Kalila album Raven, which was a great record. You know, that's Rick Rubin said something in an interview recently that I really appreciated. And I kind of agree with him. He was like, I love the fact that when streaming was coming, I realized everything is there. I can listen to everything. I can DJ. He said, but there's a lot of times I don't want to DJ. I like being programmed to. I like turning on and hearing music, a great radio station and music being programmed, which is why I still listen to KCRW, because KCRW to me still has the greatest music
That's the LA station?
Yeah. But it's like we get thrown so much at streaming that by a week or two later, I don't even remember it's come out, because everything is just thrown out there. And I do think there's something to be said for marketing and having a marketing plan so that it keeps the music in your consciousness, because when we're being thrown 50 albums a week and a billion singles and nothing really feels marketed, it does come to that point when we were at the end of the year, we couldn't even remember what we listened to, because so much shit has just been thrown at us, And I hope it gets a little better in letting some of these records that are really great have a little bit of a longer shelf life.
What happened with the Jessie Ware? Wasn't she supposed to tour?
She did. She had a sold-out tour. She played New York. She played a couple of dates in New York.
I saw nothing.
Yeah, she played
I saw no reviews.
I want to say she sold like 2 or 3 sold-out dates at Terminal 5. But I literally
saw the worst venue in New York City.
I hate Terminal 5.
Venue. No, it's the worst.
I do not like Terminal 5. I just don't.
It's the worst.
I didn't like it when it was Club Exit, and I don't like it as Terminal 5.
It's the worst location and the worst venue.
It is literally the worst location
ever. You might as well just have it in the middle of the Hudson River.
You know what I'm saying?
Just have a club, put it on Little Island in the middle of Hudson River. This has got nothing to do. Well, this is like so crazy. The other day, for some reason, I went back and watched the Rihanna Super Bowl performance. You know what? Everyone who said anything negative about that performance needs to take it back, because it's a great performance.
Listen, Rihanna was never, I'm going to vogue from one side of the stage to the other. And she was pregnant, and I thought it was fierce. I loved what she had on. I thought she gave me what I needed. Listen.
No, she looked great, and I just need that's how.
And we're about a month away from Usher's Super Bowl performance.
That's gonna be. So, what are you looking for? Are there any records you're looking forward to for 2024? Because I know I am really anxious to hear what a Dua Lipa record is going to sound like this time
Yeah,
around.
because the single kind of came and went, right? I don't think Houdini seemed to have no shelf life whatsoever.
None.
Like, it's like
None. And it was a good song, but it kind of came and went.
It was a good song that was kind of like, here it is. You know what? I think it's the red hair. I don't think we're into red hair era Dua Lipa. She might.
Well, I think the Barbie song was so big that it may have kind of like, I'm going to assume that she will perform at the Academy Awards because there's 3 songs from Barbie up, and
Right.
Everyone needs to see Ryan Gosling singing "I'm Just Ken" because it's
And
like
clearly, I know I bet you he won't sing it. Even if it's not really, they'll do that thing where somebody else performs the song.
Oh, no.
I don't see Ryan Gosling, an actor, standing up there singing the Ken song.
Why not? He co-wrote the song.
Did he?
I believe so. Why
still, for some reason, I don't know if he'll sing.
I think Ryan Gosling has been in on the joke with Ken from the very beginning, and I think that I see he just did a Christmas remix of the song. It's genius. He does like with the Phil Spector gels, and I think Ryan Gosling is loving this. I mean, he's always been a great actor, but I think Ryan Gosling, he has a background as a singer, he has a background as a dancer.
I keep forgetting he was in that.
Yeah. So, and he can dance. He was in the Mickey Mouse Club.
He was in the Mickey Mouse Club.
I think Ryan Gosling has always been in on the joke. I think he's somebody who knows that this is what he goes, but I can't, the song doesn't work without him because he's Ken.
Right.
Who else is going to sing it? You have to have Ken sing the song. But anyway, I think Dua Lipa maybe will get a bump from that. I wish a Robin record. Jesus Christ, what do we have to do to get a Robin record out, Robin?
Yeah.
I want Taylor Swift to stop re-releasing her records and take a breather. I need a break from her.
She got 2 more to do, and I bet you they'll come this year. She has to do Reputation, and then she has to do her debut album. Those are the last 2.
So she didn't do it in order?
No. Well, mostly, but she didn't. She started with her second album. So, and it makes sense, right? To leave her first one for probably last. I bet you that will be the last one. Okay. And Reputation is her big sort of change in style moment. And I think that's going to come next. And so, yeah.
Is that the one where she's got the really mean-spirited video where she's beating people up? Yeah, that's when I kind of lost real interest.
That's when I actually liked her.
Yeah, I know. Who else do you think is going to... I wonder if Usher's going to put out a record.
Yeah, he is supposed to be putting out a record. Sade is supposed to put out a record this year.
That would be really nice.
Yeah, they've been working, and so this year is supposed to be a Sade record. So
you know what I love,
and I hear there is supposedly a Rihanna record coming this year.
I don't know. It sounds like she just wants to keep having babies and go for it because she has very cute babies.
She does have very cute babies.
They're very cute babies. I will say one of my favorite things when people write about Sade and then you get all the angry like, it's not Sade is her. It's not the band. It's like, oh my God, shut up. Do you have nothing better to do than like argue about who's Sade is the band and her name is Sade. So
just like Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper is the band.
No, it's the Alice Cooper Band. It's the Alice Cooper Band. Mm-hmm. No. So I just, so Robin, Dua Lipa, anybody else?
No, that's it.
That's it. All right. Just those 2. Make us happy. And a Pet Shop Boys record would be nice. It's been 3 years.
Well, they've been working on an album. So they'll probably come up. They've literally been recording an album. So there might be an album this year at some point.
Yeah, they always kind of put out stuff and keep it current. All right. Take us out. Courtney's yawning. We're tired.
You know what it is, kids. Thank you for listening. We're back. Blah, blah, blah. Pantheon Podcast Network. Woo, woo.
No, yay, woo, woo.
No,
and they're getting all sorts of good shit. Woo, woo.
No, woo, woo was a good thing. And listen, we're in some good company on that show. I'm like, I can't believe y'all are listening to us. It's like smart people and us.
We're sort of like the junk food of the show. It's like, here's a really good healthy meal and here's some Cheetos.
Right, and here's some Cheetos, but we're flaming hot Cheetos and everybody likes a flaming hot Cheeto. So with that being said, you don't like a flaming hot Cheeto?
No. No, I don't like a flaming hot anything.
Well, you know.
No, I don't need.
You need to spice up your. You
person.
need to spice up your
I
life.
spice up my life by putting on top. Oh, and can I just say this is completely egotistical, but I'm a middle-aged woman. Thank you for everybody who's saying such nice things about my little Instagram clips, because I feel like I look like shit, and you guys are making me feel good. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I know, and everybody's like, "Are you going to do one?" I'm like, "No." I don't want to be on camera. I was like, I made Amy do them, and after the first one, she realized she likes them. So
yeah, no, I feel
that's what you're gonna see.
I'm learning. If someone could send in, I would appreciate if somebody could send me. You could do it on Facebook. How to avoid, because I've noticed I've got like the chin thing going on with the neck and the chin. So if somebody could give me tips on that, but no, I'm having fun with it, and it's very egomaniacal, I know, but it makes me feel good. So thank you, Courtney, for forcing me to do it.
And we'll be back next week. We would hope somebody please send us some Knicks tickets. Can someone send us some Knicks tickets?
Lordy.
We're almost at 5 years. We're 4.5 years. This June will be 5 years of this show. 5 years. Somebody send us a fucking pair of Knicks tickets.
Yes, please. Or like, you can send one and we'll sit on each other's laps.
It's like, I know, or we would like to, or invite us to the box. We know how to act. We like food and cocktails.
No. I want to sit I don't like sitting in a box. Sorry.
You can send one ticket to the box because I like food and cocktails.
I don't. Yeah. And on that note,
we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Stick it in.
Hey, this is Liberty DeVito.
This is Mike Del Giudice.
This is Michael Cavanaugh from Broadway's Moving Out.
This is John Jackson, director of the Billy Joel Archive.
This is Russell Javers.
This is Richie Cannata, and you're listening to Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast. It's awesome.
I'm Michael Grosvenor.
And I'm Jack Fernino.
We're lifelong Billy Joel fans who launched a podcast in 2020 celebrating the music we love.
Whether you're looking for the greatest hits or the B-sides and rarities, you'll find it all here. And if you've ever wondered what happens behind the scenes of a concert or recording session, we've got you covered.
Join us as we explore albums, tours, band members, the latest news, and more. You'll also get a unique glimpse into the music industry straight from the musicians and other professionals who help make it all happen.
Tune into Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast at glasshouseспod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast is a proud member of the Pantheon Podcasts Network.